Welcome to what is my second episode of this Game Changers series. We're halfway through, and to familiarise yourself, if you haven't already, why not watch my video on what is arguably the most important car ever, in a slightly over dramatic font, mind you. Anyway, if you haven't already, please do go and watch that, and if you do like it, why not like it? This week we have a true legend, which took the world by storm back in the 1980s. As I'm sure you realised, it's a hot hatch by the title of this video, and what hot hatch started this movement more than the VW Golf GTI. In this episode, we're going to explore the history of this car. As I speak, there have been 8 generations of the Golf GTI, all the Golf included as well. The Mark 1 was clearly the car which rewrote the storybooks though. It set way for other hot hatch legends such as the Peugeot 205 GTI, and others the avid motoring journalist is only going to really know, such as the Mazda 323 4x4 Turbo, which had 143 bhp, which is actually 40 more than the original Golf GTI. Another fact you didn't need to know there. The Golf GTI was also a hoot to drive, proving front-wheel drive wasn't blunt-wheel drive to the rear-wheel drive German norm at the time. They had the Beetle, which was the car of the people, and then they had the Golf GTI, which was the car which gave power to the people. Over time, though, the GTI generations got fatter and fatter and slower and slower. The Mark IV was actually slower than the Mark 1. That's possibly because they made way for the faster R32 with a 6-cylinder engine, but this wasn't really a success. It looked like the magic had been lost in a car your nan could name. The Mark V changed all this though. It was so loved it was voted by Top Gear as Car of the Year. It wasn't particularly shouty on the outside, with red styling, tweaks and alloys only. Some could even call this styling quite bulbous, but when you went behind the wheel it was entirely the opposite. Every mechanical part gave you satisfaction, from the manual gearbox to the steering to the throttle. There was no understeering, plenty of power, the added practicality from a sports car, and also reasonable prices. Perfection then is an understatement. Mark VI was more like a facelifted Mark V if you ask me, but then came the Mark VII. This was far more sophisticated and even cost less to insure than the previous model, thanks to the inability, thanks to safety systems, to have a low-speed crash. Inside there were no hints of the original, with the infotainment screen having smartphone mirroring and all the gubbins you have today. The only thing which showed homage to the Mark I was the retro tartan seats. The 6-cylinder nonsense was dropped as well, but in replacement there were lots of different alternatives. There was the motorway miling GTT, the Greenpeace gratifying GTE, and the Golf R, which I still don't understand why has been put above the Golf GTI itself. Sorry for the cat. However, there were signs of the Golf GTI losing its customers in the form of the BMW M135i. It was a lot faster, sounded better, thanks to a 6-cylinder engine, had a better infotainment, as you probably know by now, and I don't want to be a badge snob, but a blue and white badge looks better on the front of your car. But most of all, it cost the same as well. Now we come to the Mark VIII, you know, the one with the monobrow. Woohoo! It wasn't very woohoo, it looks a bit ridiculous, but everywhere else, it's Golf business as usual. Nothing special, like the new Peugeot 308 or the seriously smart looking Vauxhall Astra, but it's not offensive either. However, once again, they have been losing their customers. They've even been stealing from themselves. I know, stealing from themselves. That doesn't make much sense, but you heard me correctly. Because their sister cars, such as the Cupra Leon, the Skoda Octavia VRS, and the Audi S3, have wanted a piece of the action too. doesn't seem like an ideal family if you ask me. I can't say it's the most interesting choice, honestly, but, well, it's sensible. I've done something a bit different now. I put a comment down below. Yes, for once I found out how to turn on the comments. And I'd like you to vote which you prefer. There is the Mark 8 Golf GTI or the original reimagined into the future. I've put a link in the description of what that car looks like. For now though, it's bye from me, and keep updated with my next upload on the Game Changers series.